Okay, welcome back to Taco Bowler Gaming. My name is Taco Bowler. We're going to hit unpause and we're going to continue our run here as Castile. And we do have that Navy force limit of 17 or 27 that we have reached. We can get one more unit in our army, but I think I'm going to leave that for a little bit later when we have artillery. And we can now take the next military technology. And I think that the institution is not anywhere close to coming, so we're going to go ahead and take it, even though it costs a little bit extra because of that 19% on the institution. We're going to go ahead and take this one. We won't take admin until the institution comes. We'll just develop with that extra power. It'll ultimately be cheaper for us, but military is important to stay up to date. And also, this one is especially important because it has tactics, which is the most important thing in the game, and then combat width, and it also has, infantry fire, infantry shock. This is a really important technology, so we wanted to take that one when we can. But if we look here, we're 9 years ahead of time, 10 years ahead of time, which means we have 10 years to take the institution and take that administrative technology. So I'm not that worried about it. Excuse me. We're going to go ahead and put our general in charge of this army. And we have our person there, our mercenaries, and we're just going to kind of sit, and we're going to wait. Portugal is no longer a valid rival. Well, that's no fun. Let's see. I've already re-rivaled the Moroccans and England. France has rivaled me. But at this point, I'm wanting to try and figure out what am I going to do with the Mamluks. And frankly, they're rival to the Ottomans, they're rival to France. So I'm inclined to say, you know what, Ottomans? What would you consider? And we are allied to Austria. So they're not willing to accept that alliance. And QQ is way too far away and small. But France would be nice, but they have rivaled us. So we would have to remove that rivalry, which can be done. But I think that what we're going to do is we're going to rival the Mamluks. And I'm going to hope that I can use that rivalry to find friends. Maybe even convince France or the Ottomans to like me a little bit better. Something else I could do to help with that is that won't help. If I had a DLC, I could send a scornful insult. I think that's Rule Britannia? Might be Dharma, I don't know. We are now losing money. I think, I'm not actually sure why we're losing money, but we are now losing money. Go team. But that is what it is. So one thing I could do is I could load up from here and I could try and find what I'm going to do next. Now there's a couple of ways that I could go. I could go around Africa, but if we follow our missions, we want to head to the New World. It still is a good idea to know what's over here. There are uncolonized places over here, and it's really a important place to be. Ooh, this could be good. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my men. You're led, right? Why? There you go. It's like, why can't you? You're led by a conquistador. Why can't you go here? And we're going to just have them find the area. Now I am noticing that there is an attrition happening here. So there's no point in keeping my navy there. We'll just go ahead and dock it back up as I explore. A conquistador-led army can walk into uncharted terrain. When they do, there's a chance that the natives will fire. In this case, they did, and you can see just how much better we are than the natives. But if enough of those happen in succession, you could run into some problems. Now, like I said, we could take this administrative technology, but we're not anywhere close to getting the Renaissance, and I would rather have the Renaissance first. I have 10 years to take it, so instead I'm going to come over here to development, and I'm going to find the lowest cost. There's two things I could do. I could find the lowest cost, and I could just click there. Or I could come up here and say Toledo is 3 away from getting to 20, and if it gets to 20, I remember from a previous episode that if I have a European development 20 province, that it will increase by plus 0.7, and that will get Renaissance here faster. Not only that, each click will give me a little bit more Renaissance. The first one will give me 3. So I'm going to actually click in Toledo, and I'm going to just click 3 times. And you see that next click, if I clicked a 4th time, would be 3.5. This puts me at 20, which means it's going to increase by that extra amount every month. So that'll get it in my capital a lot faster, and that'll get me Renaissance faster. So that's what I'm thinking. Normally, if I were just developing just to waste the points, well, quote, waste, end quote, you come over here, you click cost to be the least costly, and you just develop here as you can. Now, if you come over here, this is what we call the Ivory Coast trade node. And the natives over here are very ferocious. So if I stop here, one thing I could do is I could attack natives. This costs you military points. It's based upon the size of the natives, maybe the ferociousness of the natives. Usually it's very, very costly in Africa and in India, and it's very, very cheap in the Americas. There are exceptions to that, but that's usually the way it is. And if I did that, then for a period of time that's not insignificant, these would be at 0. They would still be aggressive, they would still be ferocious, but there'd be 0. And you wouldn't have to worry about them rising up against your colonies. So if you need your army for something, and you want to still colonize, that's how you do that. Is you just pay the military points, and you don't worry about it anymore. This is the Ivory Coast trade node. We're going to keep going over here. And it extends from up here all the way down the coast of Africa to the Congo area. Oh, I'm paused. And this is a very, very important trade node. It is the one that tells all the trade that comes in from India, where is it going? You can see all of these arrows that are coming out of the Ivory Coast. They're going to different places. So we have one that goes to the Caribbean. We have one that goes, if you go up here, you can see one goes to Sevilla, one goes to Bordeaux, and one goes to English Channel. So if you control the Ivory Coast, you can tell all the value of all the trade that comes in from India to go to your home, if you're in Iberia, or if you're in France, or if you're in England. Really, really important node to take as well. Noble families feud. We can side with one family, we can give local autonomy, or we can just lose 33 diplomatic power. I'm doing a Diplo idea group. I don't want to lose Diplo power, so we're just going to grant local autonomy. Because I definitely don't want 17 rebellions. If you decide that you're going to, right now, someone is telling it to go to Bordeaux. If you decide that you're going to colonize in the Ivory Coast, which is not a bad decision in the slightest, you want to look for these centers of trade. This is where you want to colonize first. Even when you're in the New World, those are where you want to colonize first. Secondly, you're looking for these symbols, these estuaries, because they bring in the most trade power. And one thing that I'm thinking of doing is Cebu here is not Sunni. So if I build up my spy network up to 20, I can then, I don't have a sea tile with Cebu, But I can recall that colonist, send him here for a day, fabricate the claim, abandon the colony, and never have to pay the extra charge. And then I have an opportunity to attack Cebu, which is something there. But our truce with Portugal is up, and we said we wanted to attack Portugal. So I'm going to actually do that. I'm going to pull away from Aragon, so that we're still building up that spy network. And we cannot start a war with someone that we have a transfer power trade relation with. So I got that in the last war for money. And that was something that was beneficial. And they haven't removed that yet. So I have to come in and say cancel trade power, which I will do. And then I have to wait the month to send my next diplomat in order to actually declare the war. They didn't have to keep doing that until the truce was up. Once the truce was up, they didn't have to keep doing that, but they decided to, for whatever reason. So now we can conquest. And again, we can conquest. I think the main idea to conquest is this province here. But it may also behoove us to take Porto and maybe even Lisboa if we have the war score available. In this one, you can see that England is coming in, but you can also see that this is not an overly strong alliance. We have them beat as is. However, we can really have them beat if we call in Denmark. And they're going to bring in Norway and Sweden, which I don't think is actually calculated in this. And all of their boats, and maybe we can actually have some amount of navy against England and actually really do some damage to England, which would be nice. So we're going to call them in, and I'm going to make Algrave the war goal because it is, kind of most secluded and therefore probably easiest to defend. And my goal in this war, as I said, is to get this province over here, and then to get Porto at least, preferably Porto and maybe even Lisboa or Evora for those forts. I don't know if I'm going to be able to take their capital without a whole bunch of people not liking that. And since I have some amount of power against England, if Denmark does beat England, then I might try and take war reps from England as well. But let's go ahead and just move on in here and try and knock out Portugal. I'm going to take my two fleets here, the trade fleet and my combat fleet, bring them together. And it may not hurt to bring my conquistador. I was trying to see, where all the centers of trade are in the Ivory Coast, but since I already have the two colonies going, I think instead I'm going to have the 4 people here kind of gather up, and I'm going to have them wind up showing me this land because it's currently unknown to me. Now Aragon's going to come over, they're going to flood, and they're going to try and help me to fight the Portuguese army. I'm going to bring my mercenaries up here. And I'm going to knock out these 3. Our royal marriage has ended with Portugal, or with Denmark. That is sad. Let's go up here and let's get that back, please. Thank you. Now, are my 4 troops back? They are not back yet. I would advise, even in a war this lopsided, I would advise going to speed 3 if you're new, but I'm going to keep it on speed 4 in the interests of time. And now I have managed to fight their army, which is very, very good. And they're going to retreat here. I can't get there because the forts are blocking me. So instead I'm going to try and just get here. And I'm going to trust that Aragon's going to take these out, and we're just going to make them kind of sit there and wait. Also, we're going to move on up here and blockade, because a coastal fort you want to get a blockade if at all possible. A new papal controller has been picked. It is Burgundy, so I'm going to click this just once just to get in. And let's talk about this. We have 50 papal influence now. Each year we get 4, which is a lot. So that gives us, we can get taxes, we can get prestige, we can get legitimacy, we can get a stability if we had 100. We can get mercantilism, which is kind of a permanent increase of trade. It's good, but it's not, the most pressing need, certainly at the moment. We can gain a diplo reputation, which makes everyone like us better. We can improve our manpower recovery, but if you're not constantly at war, that's not a gigantic problem. And we can get a yearly inflation reduction. Now, right now, I have a advisor that does a yearly inflation reduction, so it's going down as is. I can make it go down by 0.16 instead of just 0.06, but I don't think that's the most pressing need. But normally, that's a really good one. Our prestige is relatively low, but it is going up still, so we don't really need to worry about that. Our legitimacy is at 90, but it goes up. So I'm kind of down to taxes, diplorep, or mercantilism, and right now we are losing money. So getting plus 15 taxes for 20 years is not a bad thing. So now our taxes will go up on the next tick, and we are now making money. Plus 0.12. We also have government reforms. So this is the second government reform, so I've probably already talked about that. Monthly autonomy change sounds good, but there's a cap to that, right? There's a base to that. So in this case, max movement of cultures is the best, even though neither one is that great. I'm noticing that we have 9.1 with very low morale down here, so I'm just going to quickly go in and attack them, and we can hopefully beat them up pretty badly. They're retreating. We're going to go ahead and head on over and try and hit them, and there they are. They're gone. A stack wipe, which is really, really nice. Now we're going to try and chase down that 1.8. I'm sure Aragon is also trying to chase down that 1.8. It's important to kind of get on the war goal. But at this point, I'm just trying to siege down Portugal. And we have had a fight start, which was not actually expected. And I am going to actually have them retreat. We have lost 1 light ship in that fight. And I am noticing that England has decided to come down here with a relatively large fleet, and they're going to try and land over here. If they siege down this colony, which is not where they're landing, then the colony would stop growing, and it would stop costing me money until I sieged it back, or the war ended. There's also a special thing you can do with an army, assuming that's not DLC related, where you can seize a colony for military power. We're going to head up here, and I'm going to come down with that army. We have won the Siege of Evora, so let's go ahead and hop over here, and essentially now we have completely sieged down Portugal, which is really, really good. Now, we still are nowhere near on Renaissance, and I still have 8 years. So I'm going to develop again, and this time I think I will go ahead and develop 4 in Sevilla to get that one going as well. I was thinking that this time I would just do a normal development, but I don't think so. Now, I do have a navy down here that is recuperating, but I think I'm going to press the envelope. So we're going to have this army move up here while the English Navy is headed back home. Probably to get more troops. I don't really know. Now, Tyrone is somehow in this war. I don't know why. We may not negotiate a separate peace. They are a vassal of England. That's why they're in the war. Okay. So Denmark has not decided to land troops in England, but they are blockading, which could be what the English are trying to come back against. And so you can see here, as I try and force the English out of the war, they already, because of their military strength, because of the war score we have, are relatively close to being willing to stop. So we could summon a Dai, but I'm not going to. We have our 20, so what I'm going to do is do that trick where I'm going to recall, and I'm going to send the colonist here, and I need to watch that, because as soon as he arrives, I'm going to fabricate my claim and recall him and abandon the colony, so I don't have to pay for it, because that's not what I want. Now, we did land 4,000 on 4,000 Portuguese, but that wound up being okay. Could have been really bad. I'm going to try and, keep that eye on. And I'm going to actually take the 11,000, and we're going to take the 11,000 and tell my navy to transport them over here. Because I know there are 5,000 Englishmen on this island, and I want to relieve it. Alright, so right now, there it is. The colony is there, and it would cost us 10. That's not good. But I can fabricate the claim right there. We're going to bring that guy back. Recall the colonist. Go 1 day. The colonist is back, and I can abandon the colony. And I don't have to pay for it. And now I have my claim. And that's the center of trade in the Ivory Coast node, which, like I said, is a really, really good node. Did I lose? Why do I only have 5,000 there? Okay. I do know that Aragon is coming down. They're going to fight, and let's join that fight. We won the fight quickly. I'm going to go ahead and bring into port here and try and repair some of my ships. I can invest in a new idea. We are 7 years away from falling behind 2 times, so we're going to keep taking our idea group, this time with global tariffs up. We'll deal with that when we have colonial nations. And let's see if England is willing. They are even less willing because Denmark has retreated its navy. But oh well. So now the Portuguese navy is out and fighting the Aragonese. We want to come join them in that fight. And you can see they are losing a bunch of ships. And those 13 will head off to England. Somewhere. Let's see how many troops England has. They have 27,000. Probably if I landed over here, I could really hassle them. The thing is, we would be landing 12. And they have 23 somewhere. But I'm still going to do it. We're going to try. It's only mercs. It's not my actual manpower. And so we're going to land on Devon here. Now, because this is the Emperor patch, it takes a long time to land. They should both be landing? Why are you not landing? Why? Detach. Land. Thank you. It's probably why they didn't hop on the boats last time. So I can lose 10 prestige and gain 25 diplomatic power, or I lose my navigator here, my colonial range guy. I think I want diplomatic power, and it's worth to me the cost of 10 prestige. Does put us in the negative, but that much negative is not that bad of a penalty or a modifier, so it's okay. I am going to take these, and I'm going to come over here to Cornwall because the Portuguese Navy is here, and I want to take Cornwall quickly and force the Portuguese Navy out into a battle. And that's a battle I think I can win and maybe steal some ships. Which would be ideal. Alright, so they have joined. The English have now joined it. Now this is a battle I cannot win. So I'm going to retreat, and I'm going to retreat back here. Enough time had passed for me to be able to retreat. That may not have happened if you wind up in a similar situation. I also have to worry that they're going to answer militarily, and I don't really have that great of watch over here. So if an army suddenly appears, then I'm going to have to deal with that. I'm going to go ahead and let the tick happen, so we've repaired a little bit. And I'm going to take 12 of this army. I'm going to reduce it to 8 and 4. And I'm going to attach them to the transports. And this time, I'm just going to go directly to Devon. And so they won't have to land because they're just going to transport directly into the port. And now that will give me 24,000 up here, which would be pretty good to say, hey, England, if you attack me, you're going to run into problems. We lost our military advisor. Let's get morale of armies, which is really, really good. It's really, really good because it combines with what we already had. Let's go ahead and start another fight against the Portuguese here. We have with us the Swedes have 5 ships. And so you can see I did not actually capture any ships. We did sink some Portuguese ships, which is very nice. I'm just going to go straight into Cornwall here. The Swedes are going to go up and challenge that heavy, which is a good idea. I approve. And I'm going to actually hop on London, Oxford, and Sussex. And once I do that, we now are technically sieging their capital, even though it's not progressing because I don't have enough men. And they still are not willing to do that, which is actually quite surprising. So I'm going to let the monthly tick happen to repair that Carrick. And I'm going to come over here to the Straits of Dover. And I'm going to tell this 6 to get on the fleet and then holding the shift key to head over to Kent. And that's going to force, not only is that going to force the Portuguese out, but it will also be another occupied and besieged province. However, the English have arrived. The English have arrived with quite the few ships. And so this is not a good battle, and it's going to take the full amount of days. Let's get to June 11th. There we go. We can retreat. Let's retreat into Sussex and let them move. And we will try this again right after the monthly tick. There we go. Let that fleet repair just a little bit. And we're going to try and land on Kent again. The English fleet went over here probably to try and defend the Irish Sea. Hopefully we can get this landing done in time. No guarantees on that. Yeah, so they're going to be back on the 31st of July. We're not going to land until the 26th of August, so we're just going to run back to Sussex, to avoid that fight, and that's fine. And now, because I landed in Sussex like that, the only place I can go is London, due to zone of control. So we can get unrest, or we can get heretic regiments in Almira. Almira is this one. I think I'm going to take the heretic regiments, and I'm just going to move some troops over there first. And this unit, because they came in here, you can see return province is there. They can actually walk back here, and then they can go anywhere from here. So they can actually get back here, and I'm going to let them do so. And as soon as you get to Almira, we're going to fire the regiments. And I guess the event went away as soon as they finished converting. So I didn't need to. We're going to get the next one, which is this one here. And we'll come back over here. So we have defeated the army that lowers England's strength ever so slightly. We're going to say, no, don't move there. And I want you to head back to Oxford. And actually back all the way into London. And I think that if I come over here, and now I am blockading all of this, including their capital, they will want out, and I was correct. They would like out. Now I can't take anything unless I were to, take more. If I want war reps, I need help with that from Denmark, which seems unlikely, but right now, getting them out of the war is fine. White peace, fine by me. We're going to take our main troops, and we're going to bring them home first, and then we'll worry about the mercs after that. We'll kind of collect the mercs together so that the Navy has someone to quickly go back from. And then after one day, I can sue for peace with the next one, which is Portugal. We have 100 war scores, so we can take whatever we want. We want, like I said, this province here. Come on. Thank you. And I would like Porto, and if I can, Lisboa. Portugal is the only nation that cares about that. Can I connect them? Again, Portugal is the only nation that cares about this. It's 309 administrative power, 69% overexpansion. That's fine on all of that front. 1 to get to 100 peace deal. Now, something that's intriguing. Yeah, no. A 100% peace deal. This is good to me. We will send this demand, and there we go. We're going to go over here to this tab, and we're going to core everything. And we will reduce corruption as needed, although you could just leave the corruption if you really wanted to. You had money problems, something like that. Which admittedly, we have some money problems. But I'm going to delete or mothball the forts with the exception of Lisboa, because I know that's going to have unrest. And I'm converting here, so I need to check. I do not have unrest because of recently done stuff, so that is that. And so that's been the episode. It's been a little bit long, but we were at war there, so that was a good episode, and I will see you next time.